How to coach and inspire others effectively. Tony Robbins. From the moment you decide that your purpose is to uplift others, everything shifts. Imagine arriving before dawn at a modest conference room. The lights are dim. A small group of aspiring leaders gathers, their eyes bright with hope and uncertainty. You stand at the front, heart steady, because today you will guide them from doubt to confidence, not with lofty theories, but with stories, challenges, and a relentless belief in their potential. You begin not with a lecture, but with a question. What change do you long to see in the world? Silence stretches as each person searches their own heart. Then one voice cracks. I want to help people find health through nutrition. Another, I want to teach children to love reading. Each answer is a spark. You fan those sparks into flames by asking them to share a moment when they felt truly alive. They exchange experiences. A jog at sunrise, seeing a child's face light up at a story. They feel pain, joy, purpose. With that foundation, you introduce your first story. Years ago, you coached a young entrepreneur named Maya. She had a groundbreaking idea for a social media platform that connected freelancers with mentors. Brilliant on paper, yet she froze at the thought of pitching. In your first session, she trembled as her hands shook around the coffee cup. You didn't start with slides on public speaking. You asked Maya to imagine she was talking to her younger self, the kid who wanted to make a difference but feared rejection. You invited her to speak to that child. Voice soft but clear, she spoke of dreams and fears. By framing her pitch as a conversation with the person she loved most, herself, her words gained warmth and authenticity. The next day, she pitched to 10 investors and secured seed funding. That is the power you teach. Connection before content. True inspiration springs not from facts, but from shared humanity. You guide your group through an exercise, pair up, and for 5 minutes, tell your partner about your greatest setback and the lesson it taught you. As they listen, tears come. As they speak, relief follows. You circulate, nodding, reminding them. When someone shares vulnerability, they give you a gift. Honor it. After the exercise, you hold a mirror to the room. Notice how energy shifted? You smile. When people feel heard, they open their hearts. That is the first step to lasting change. Next, you reveal a second story, this one about Carlos, a mid-level manager in a manufacturing firm. His team's morale was at rock bottom after layoffs. Productivity lagged, absenteeism spiked. He came to you burned out, convinced nothing could revive their spirit. You refused to accept despair. Instead, you asked Carlos to spend 1 hour each day simply walking the shop floor, not to criticize or solve problems, but to ask each worker, "What's going well for you today?" He balked at first. "I don't have time." But he tried it. Day 1. A welder told him she loved the new safety goggles. She suggested a tweak to their design. Day 2. A technician thanked him for noticing his extra hours. He offered insight on a workflow. Day 3. A young apprentice confessed he feared making mistakes but wanted to learn. With each conversation, Carlos began to see his team not as cogs in a machine, but as individuals with ideas, fears, hopes. Morale lifted. Attendance improved. Within a month, productivity climbed by 15%. You lean into this lesson. Inspiration thrives when you surface strengths rather than highlight faults. You ask your participants to identify someone they coach, an employee, a friend, a peer, and write down 3 strengths they bring to any situation. You challenge them to deliver feedback by leading with those strengths before addressing gaps. As the morning light grows, you introduce a third story about Layla, a non-profit founder who sought to expand her food distribution program. She had passion and tireless energy, but donors saw only expense, not impact. She needed to inspire them to give more. You taught her to craft living proof stories. Instead of sharing statistics, she would take donors to meet families whose lives had changed. You accompanied her to a rural village. Under a mango tree, she introduced Mr. Patel, who, after receiving monthly food boxes, had started a small successful poultry farm. His eyes shone as he described how generosity had seeded independence. You ask your group, when will you bring someone into your world so they can feel the results of your work? They scribble plans, an investor breakfast at a customer's home, a video interview with a beneficiary, a site visit that lets prospects walk in the shoes of those they support. By midday, energy brims. You pause for a simple lunch, sandwiches and fruit, but frame even eating as a chance to connect. Break bread together, you say, and you break barriers too. You eat alongside your group, asking each person about their morning insights. Their voices carry hope, excitement, vulnerability. After lunch, you shift to teaching emotional states. You share a vivid memory, your first live event with hundreds in attendance. Backstage, you felt terror. Your heart pounded like a drum. You recall taking 3 deep breaths, anchoring yourself with a mantra, "I am here to serve." You stepped on stage, and that shift in physiology and focus transformed fear into presence. You invite participants to stand and move. You lead them through a 2-minute state change exercise, power poses, emphatic vocalizations, immersive visualization of their purpose. Laughter peals as they roar like lions, then freeze in statues. When you end, the room crackles with renewed vitality. You remind them, you cannot inspire from a limp state. Your physiology, your words, your energy, all must align. You then teach the art of storytelling structure. You draw a simple arc on a flip chart. Struggle, shift, success. Every great coaching moment follows this arc. You ask each person to think of a personal story and map it onto the arc. They work in pairs, refining details. Paint the struggle vividly, show the moment of decision, describe the outcome with sensory richness. Next comes demonstration. Volunteers step up, share their story, and the group gives feedback. "I felt your tension here." Paint more color around how you felt. You coach them to use pauses, varying tone, gestures. Slowly, hesitant voices transform into confident narrators. By late afternoon, you introduce a more advanced technique, meta-coaching, or coaching the coaching conversation itself. You tell a story of Serena, a corporate trainer whose sessions often stalled when participants clung to old beliefs. You taught Serena to ask power questions, open, forward-focused inquiries that invite solutions rather than diagnosing problems. Instead of, "Why did this happen?" she asked, "What would need to be true for this project to succeed?" You hand out index cards, 2 columns, problem questions versus power questions. In silence, they convert 3 of their typical questions into power questions. The room buzzes as they share examples. "Why can't you meet your sales target?" becomes, "What strategies could you explore to exceed your sales goals?" Before the final stretch, you share your most personal story. Years ago, you faced a season of failure. Your first business venture collapsed under debt. You describe the panic, the loneliness, the temptation to quit. Then you describe the first person who inspired you, your coach, who refused to let you see yourself as a victim. He crafted a single belief in you. You can learn faster than any setback. That belief became the lens through which you rebuilt. You reveal tears in your voice. The room is silent, hundreds of hearts touched. You then guide participants to craft a closing message. Imagine you have 3 minutes at the end of your session to leave people with one idea they'll carry forward. They write, revise, practice. You remind them, your final words plant seeds. Choose them wisely. As dusk falls, you bring everyone back together. A circle. You ask them to share one commitment. What will you do differently tomorrow as a coach and inspirer of others? Each speaks. I will begin every session by asking about strengths. I will record one story of success each week. I will schedule state change exercises before big talks. You close with one last story of a farmer named Kojo whose village suffered drought. Instead of complaining, Kojo inspired his neighbors to dig a communal well. He walked door to door, listened to fears, mirrored their hopes, and led them in action. Within weeks, water flowed, crops revived, and a community that had felt powerless rediscovered agency. You look around, voice steady with emotion. You are the Kojo in your own circle. The well you dig through coaching and inspiration will feed countless lives. Go dig it. Go dig. When the lights go up and people stand, you feel the energy. Hope transformed into resolve. They depart into the night, carrying stories, tools, a renewed belief that with the right questions, heartful stories, and unwavering presence, they can coach and inspire others to greatness. Long after the room empties, you stay to reflect. You know that true transformation ripples outward, far beyond the walls of any workshop. When someone you've coached stands taller, speaks with clarity, or dares to serve a higher purpose, that energy spreads. And so, as you turn off the lights and step into the cool evening air, you carry one final truth. To coach and inspire others effectively, you must first embody the change you seek. Align your physiology, your stories, your questions, and your unwavering belief in possibility. Then watch as those you touch ignite their own fires, and the world brightens. How will you step into your role as coach and inspirer tomorrow? The answer lives in the stories you'll tell, the questions you'll ask, and the belief you'll hold. Choose wisely, shine brightly, and inspire fiercely. Because the lives you change may one day change the world.